Now we go to Cam Howard. And by now, those of you who have been at the symposium, but also those of you who have seen him recently know that he is on several missions, but he has a particular mission that he's on big time. And so, Cam, you are one among those who have led the charge. We heard a reference, the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, passing H.R. 40. I had a conversation with one of the local leaders of the NAACP, was wondering whether or not the NAACP nationally was involved. I said, yes, Hillary Shelton has been with us time and time and time again on this. It doesn't really matter because we are right here at the finish line, but we have not gotten it over the finish line. And so, Cam, would you just sort of summarize where we are with H.R. 40 and the challenges and opportunities that we face in terms of getting this milestone legislation or proposition enacted? Cam Howard.
Sure, Dr. Daniels. And let me also thank and pay homage to our pastor here and all the beautiful people of Evanston, Robin, your leadership, and the leadership of NARC. When we talk about H.R. 40, we have to go to NARC for the current iteration of H.R. 40. In 2015, NARC was established, and at our first meeting, we decided that we would revise H.R. 40, remove it from a study bill to a remedy bill. Congressman Conyers introduced it in 2017, and in 2019, our current leader, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, took over the legislation, and in the first 6 months, she had a historic hearing on H.R. 40 on Juneteenth of 2019, the first hearing in probably like 7 years on the bill. We finished that congressional session with 177 co-sponsors. We entered the next congressional session. We didn't get a vote. We entered the next congressional session on the first day the bill was introduced in 2021 in Cobra's leadership. Under my direction, we had 117 co-sponsors sign on the first day it was introduced. Less than a week later, 2 weeks later, Congresswoman said, I'm going to have another hearing, and we had a hearing in February of 2021. 2 months later, the Congresswoman led and had the bill voted out of committee, out of the Judiciary Committee for the first time in its 30-year history. Major historic milestone. We thought at that time we would quickly move the bill to the floor for a full House vote. We spent a tremendous amount of energy and time meeting over 90 straight weeks over that period, trying to get this bill to the floor. We ended with 217 confirmed votes. We only need 218 to pass. We ended with 217 confirmed votes, but the leadership would not bring the bill to the floor. Even if they had brought it to the floor, we would have won at that level. But we knew, even with a Senate companion bill, we weren't going to get the bill passed legislatively through Congress. You need a 60-vote filibuster-proof majority in the Senate in order to have that bill passed. So all along, even though we were fighting and struggling, the national leadership, it was several organizations who were meeting these 90-plus weeks on a weekly basis with the Congresswomen, with the House Judiciary staff. Even though we knew we weren't going to get this legislation passed legislatively, we knew that we had to create, in the consciousness of white Americans, particularly the president, that the Democratic political party had the political will to pass this legislation. And we were able to demonstrate that with a Senate companion bill, Senate leaders signed on. But more important than that, and where we're at now, we have expanded this demonstration of political will for this legislation by what all of you are doing here in Evanston with the local reparations that you're doing all around the country. We are saying, and we're demonstrating to the Democratic Party that this is something that American people want. And primarily, most of the legislation, I haven't seen any of this legislation, as Robin stated, this is a partisan issue. I haven't seen any of this legislation proposed by a Republican anywhere in the country. So everywhere you see reparations being talked about, it's being talked about in the context of the Democratic Party. So this president knows that his base desires reparatory justice. We have unintentionally, as black people, amassed a tremendous amount of power in the Democratic Party. And I say unintentionally because we didn't intend after voting 60 years for the Democratic Party, we didn't start out saying, one day we're going to be 20% of the Democratic Party base, we're going to have this tremendous power. We didn't start out doing that, but that's where we are at today. We are 20% of its base. If you look at 61% of the Democratic base is white, 20% is black, 19% is all other people of color. That 20% has a tremendous amount of power if we leverage it. And right now, since we knew we were going to have to pivot this bill to the president for an executive order, that's where we're at now, and we have the power to do so. H.R. 40, and he has on his desk now an executive order that was written by the Chief Counsel of the Judiciary Committee, which basically says establish an H.R. 40-like commission. And there's people who are talking about, H.R. 40 is no good. We hear that from some folks. Because they really don't know what H.R. 40 is designed to do. And as Jam stated, there's 3 periods of criminality in this country, 3 areas of criminality. So H.R. 40 Commission is designed to look at the period of enslavement, study how that period of crimes continually impact all of us today, and then develop remedies to address the continued impact from enslavement-era crimes. Then it's to look at the second period, apartheid-era crimes, Jim Crow, the lynching that Dr. Malveaux talked about, and the impact those crimes have on current living black folks. Some of us, our parents, are still living who experienced apartheid. And in interacting with my parents, I know they carried trauma. I know they carried pain. And how, they chastise you, they pull out a extension cord. I got a bunch of whelps. Some of y'all know about the extension cord beatings. They say, I'm gonna beat you like you stole something, because that was passed down. Some of y'all know about that. Maybe some, right. So I know, we carry that impact. And the H.R. 40 Commission is designed to look at all of the impact of apartheid-era crimes and then craft remedies, and also is to look at the current era crimes, war on drugs, mass incarceration, police terror, and determine that full impact and then develop remedies to address that. So what H.R. 40 is designed to do is create a master plan of redress for Black America. The California legislation, Dr. Shirley Weber, when she introduced her bill, she didn't start from scratch. She just took H.R. 40 and said, let me put a California preamble to it, and everything else in the legislation we're going to put, and we're going to get it passed in California. So the California bill, Jessica Task Force, first the California bill is H.R. 40 at the state level, word for word. Changed nothing, added 1 clause around eligibility and a preamble, as I stated, for California. So we know the potential of this legislation. They just completed their work, 1,100-page document detailing the continued impact and harms, 14 areas of impact, and over 140 remedies. That is what's supposed to come out of H.R. 40, and that is what has to come out of an executive order, and it's up to us to make that happen right now, and we have the power to do so. We started a campaign, the Earn My Vote, Earn the Black Vote campaign, earntheblackvote.net. We're asking everybody to go to that website. We're gonna make Biden do it. He's not gonna do it unless we make him do it, and we have the power. I can't stress enough, my mantra is we have the power. We have the power, but it has to be circulated and leveraged all around the country from these local spaces for us to make it happen. So H.R. 40 by executive order now.
All right, okay.